Today on Politics Unplugged, why the Trump administration is leaving the Valley Boys and Girls Club in limbo. Senator Ruben Gallego is fueling more talk about a possible run for president in 2028.
Masking yourself is unacceptable.
And Attorney General Chris Mays has some choice words for ICE agents who wear masks. Our panel breaks it down now on Politics Unplugged.
Good evening. I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and this is Politics Unplugged. The Trump administration has frozen $118 million for Arizona schools, including more than $1 million for the Boys and Girls Club. So what will that funding loss mean for their programs? Here to talk about that is Marcia Mintz, the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club here in Arizona. Thank you very much for stopping by here. Before we get into all of this stuff, explain the programs that your organization funds and delivers for these kids, and how many kids could this affect?
Sure. So we have 32 clubs across the state, but the programs that are specifically at risk now are part of the 21st Century Community Learning Funds, and that is our only federal subsidy program, particularly for youth in high poverty, low income neighborhoods that need special assistance. So currently we have 6 of our sites receive 21st Century funds that are currently frozen, and we have 4 more in the queue for next year.
So 6 sites now, 4 in the future. So this money right now, my understanding is your group and a lot of people are kind of in limbo because you don't know if this is a cut or if this is a delay that you will eventually get the money. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's an unprecedented hold on funds that were already approved by Congress and are normally released on July 1st. Now here in Arizona, we start school early. So I have schools starting in 2 weeks with uncertainty about funding, which is very difficult to plan in terms of staffing and kids, and more importantly for our working families who need to have a place for their kids after school so they can get their work done.
So I think that's the important point. This is grant money. You've already applied for and received this, and it was approved by Congress. Yeah. So you were expecting this money to come, and was there any heads up that maybe this was going to happen, or on July 1st, everybody's looking around going, where's the money we were promised?
No, there was no heads up. It was really, like I said, unexpected and also unprecedented. In its history, it has never been delayed. And I think part of the confusion is the budget was coming out. So not to confuse this money that was already approved in last year's budget and the funds that were not approved in next year's budget. So we got caught in between, but every school, it's about $24 million for the state of Arizona, and we're about $1.3 million of that $24 million.
Now this is part of a larger delay or cut. Again, we don't know what it is yet across the country. Have you heard anything since July 1st from the administration? It hasn't really given much of an explanation for what they did, for why they're doing this. Have you heard anything else about the money, whether it's going to be coming or not?
No, we've heard nothing at the federal level. We've reached out to the Arizona Department of Education. They are hopeful the funding will be coming, but they can't tell us anything specific, which makes very difficult planning and uncertainty. And people are talking about money, but what I don't think they realize, it's 2,000 kids just for us. So it's thousands of kids in Arizona. It is 300 sites and $24 million, but for us it's 2,000 of the kids who really need us most, who don't have that support. We work with schools in partnership to really make sure we have those wraparound services, and working families. All of the kids we serve have either a single parent or 2 parents who are working full time and have no option for childcare.
So what exactly do these 21st century learning programs, what do they do for these kids? When like, who's the kid that goes there? You just said they maybe single parents, have some issues. Like, who specifically goes there, and what kind of education do they get in these programs?
So these programs are specifically targeted at Title I low-income schools where kids are struggling academically and the economic stability of the family is at risk. So they're chosen, they're identified, and they come to our program at no cost. They get academic support, they get youth development, which means really they're getting character and leadership. They're getting STEM programming, which they may not get in school. They're getting career exploration, opportunities to engage. Learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. You could be doing a cooking class and you have to do measuring. It's a great way way to learn fractions when your kids are really struggling in class. So they get all of that plus a meal at Boys and Girls Club. So it makes the family stable economically, and it helps parents keep their job.
So there's summer school programs operating right now. We're a week past that July 1st deadline. Is there any plans at this point now, any discussions about whether or not you're going to have to close or severely cut back on the programs you're delivering right now?
Yes, I think all those discussions are happening now in partnership with the school districts that we serve, and it's tricky because we don't want to not have opportunity, but you don't want to continue a program that you can't sustain. I would say Boys and Girls Clubs of the Valley is really committed to the families we made a commitment to serve, at least for the next couple of months, but long term that sustainability will have to be evaluated. And
$1.3 million, that grant money, is there any discussion of ways to backfill that? Are there donors out there that have reached out and said, like, look, if you don't get this money, we can help you out because we don't want to see these programs get shuttered or anything like that?
Well, not yet, but I'm hoping there is someone out there, and I think that once we have the certainty and we know we're not going to get that funding, we would have to start a philanthropic campaign because that's the only funding we get at the federal level. We are highly dependent on philanthropy for our programs because, again, we're serving low-income, impoverished families.
Yeah, and let's wrap up a little bit on this then, because I wanted to talk about what lies forward. You're looking at maybe a fundraising campaign. Any other options moving forward if you don't get this money?
Well, the worst option would be to close the programs, and we obviously don't want to do that. It will just put thousands of kids already behind academically and socially and in terms of development. So we're looking for other partnerships. We are actively talking to all of our school partners, but really at the end of the day, it's going to come down to somebody stepping forward and saying, we're going to make sure these kids have the services.
Okay, final question then. Let's say, can you trust this? If you're going to apply for grants now, federal grants in the future, do you trust you're going to get the money now? How does this change how you just operate moving forward in general?
We did this, our budget began July 1st, so what we said this year is we were promised some monies, we were hoping for monies, promised another $500,000 in the next fiscal year, but we said we'll have to adapt. So we have a budget philosophy. When we know that cut is going to come, we already have some ideas on how we can make those cuts and still serve as many kids as we can. Overall, all our mission is driven by how can we serve more kids, the most efficiently.
Yeah, but again, it just seems like you may be a little bit shy moving forward in applying for these grants, given the fact that you didn't see this money was approved, you guys applied for it, you had the money, you thought it was coming, it didn't come. So maybe moving forward, you look at different ways.
Absolutely. We're always looking for different ways to either for earn revenue or for families to help participate in some of the costs. But the reality is the families we're serving, they can't participate in that. I truly believe this community will come together and make sure these programs exist.
All right. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Some time today. And still ahead, this is going to ramp up speculation that Ruben Gallego plans to run for president. The senator goes to Iowa when Politics Unplugged continues. Welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Time to take a look at the headlines you may have missed this week. Here is our political roundup.
Sculptured butter cows and bacon-wrapped Twinkies are fueling the latest talk about Ruben Gallego's presidential aspirations. The Arizona senator is planning a trip to the Iowa State Fair next month, where he will hold town hall-style meetings about Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Speaking of the president, a Mesa councilwoman is paying the price for violating the central commandment of the modern Republican Party: thou shalt not cross Donald Trump. Julie Spilsbury now faces a recall election in November because she endorsed Kamala Harris for president last year. Hail to the chief. After a long search, Phoenix finally has a new top cop. Matt Giordano will now lead the department, and in his first interview with Arizona's family after being named chief, Giordano said he doesn't think local police should play any role in immigration enforcement. The political arm for the Arizona House Republicans is trying to score a windfall in the Windy City. For a mere $15,000 contribution, you can jet over to Chicago next month for a steak and a White Sox baseball game.
And let's bring in our panel now. Democratic consultant Stacy Pearson and independent consultant Chuck Coughlin. And let's talk about this. And let's start with Ruben Gallego. And Chuck, you've been around the block many times on this. Off year, no reason for anybody to go to Iowa. I say this with love, having been from Iowa. No reason to go to Iowa on an off year except to go check out a great college football game in Iowa City, right?
Do they have those there? I'm more partial to Ann Arbor.
Yeah,
but there's Butter Cows. You can go see the Butter Cow, and you can see, the State Fair. But I mean, what he's doing, I don't give him any harsh about this because, the Democratic Party today is a mosh pit of different opinions.
Well-oiled machine.
And so elevating a voice like Ruben's, who's newly elected, young veteran, he's got sort of Mark Kelly bio around him, and he has differing opinions than most of the party on immigration. So getting him out there, for him to get out there, I think it's healthy for the Democratic Party to do that.
Get your take on this real quick. I mean, you have been, critical of Ruben Gallego in the past.
I have.
Do you think he's got a shot at doing this?
So everybody has a shot, right? We are, coming out of November, we were officially demonstrably rudderless. And the Democratic Party should be looking at every elected official who won a statewide in a state that Donald Trump won and figure out what that playbook was. And for Ruben Gallego to be in Iowa, it's good for Arizona. He is communicating to the country that Democrats and border states in particular can hold two thoughts at once. We can be tough on open borders, and we can respect the role immigrants play in our community. I mean, we can hold two thoughts.
Yeah, is it good for Arizona?
It's great for Arizona.
We know we've got a chief executive who can play hardball politics with the best of them, and he can come after some of the people that are perceived as political enemies out there. So is this really good for Arizona?
I think it's good for the nature of the immigration discussion because you have to, Arizona is a state that needs an economic system and an immigration system that works. Mexico's our largest trading partner. He knows that, we know that. And so emphasizing those voices beyond our borders is critically important because eventually you have to create rules around immigration. You can't do what is happening of just pick up anybody and say, you're gone, and because I don't like your political opinions. And you have to create some rules around that. And I think having that narrative out there is a good narrative for the Democrats.
This brings up too, there's a lot of speculation that Arizona's senior senator might also be looking to eyeing a run in 2028. Do you expect that to happen with Mark Kelly, who was on the short list for VP just last year? Let's talk about that. What do you think?
Oh, I hope so. I hope everybody gets in. I hope anyone under the age of 90 or even 70 from the Democratic Party gives it a whirl. I mean, we really do have an opportunity to restructure our foundation and talk. I would really like to see someone run who knows how to use an iPhone or maybe send a tweet themselves. I mean, this is really an opportunity for us to start over. Hit reset.
You just took me out of the game.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
It seems like you're a little fed up with your Democratic Party.
I mean, I've been consistent on that. Man, we've got to flip the script.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about MAGA politics going all the way down now to the local city level. We're seeing a recall election. Julie Spilsbury, she was very popular. She was elected with 65% of the vote. And a group has got together, got the signatures together. She is now facing a recall election. The people, behind this said that she took a series of votes, particularly on raising councilmen's salaries there, some tax hikes and utility hikes or whatnot. Is that the real reason that you call? Or is it because she's a registered Republican who happened to endorse Kamala Harris last year?
Yeah, I think this is a disciplinary tactic. It's being deployed by Turning Point to create discipline within the Republican Party. And as Trump has articulated, punish people who walk away from it. And that's something that Turning Point is extraordinarily good at. They are a disciplined organization for our dear leader, to follow our dear leader the way we should follow our dear leader. And they are going to bring that about. It's not only in Mesa. This is a burgeoning, deeply polarized electorate that has fallen more and more into these partisan lines. So these types of issues, they use.
I just want to real quick too. I mean, I mentioned in the Roundup package, they broke the central commandment of the modern Republican Party. You don't cross Donald Trump. I mean, when you got into politics, it was thou Republicans shall not speak ill of another Republican. It's changed a lot, right?
Dennis, that's so passe. That's Ronald Reagan. If you're not saluting the flag, you're out. And so that. Yeah, you have to be in order and in alignment.
And you're familiar with Mesa politics.
I am.
What are the chances that Spilsbury loses this recall election, gets recalled from office?
So I think her supporters will rally behind her. She is one of the most earnest, kindest, most compassionate policymakers we have in Arizona. And I'm saying that as a Democrat, and she is a LDS mom in Mesa. I mean, she is who we need to have in office. She understands math, for example. So this is, I think her base is going to rally behind her. And
it's going to be low turnout, though.
It is.
And, the supporters of the president are very dedicated and very passionate themselves, correct?
They are. She also, though, is a member of the LDS Church, and those folks stick together.
Yeah, and this is the same tool. Go back now. They recalled Russell Pierce. Because the advantage of a recall election for your opponent is you can get a headshot on somebody because you can discipline the other side to only having one candidate. And so they will do that, I presume, and they will get one candidate on the ballot against her, but her larger opportunity is the turnout, because you can turn out everybody in this cycle, and she can reach into those broader constituencies to get
All right, we're going to have to take a quick break right now, but when we come back, the Attorney General weighs in on ICE agents hiding their faces. That's next on Politics Unplugged. And to get more in-depth on the issues, check out the Politics Unplugged podcast. This week, we talk with Paul Bentz about whether a third party can really gain a foothold in American politics. The Politics Unplugged podcast drops every Sunday evening wherever you get podcasts. And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Attorney General Chris Mays is telling ICE she doesn't want agents to wear masks during their deportation raids here in Arizona.
As the top law enforcement officer of the state of Arizona, masking yourself is unacceptable. It's bad law enforcement, and it's just not something we've ever seen before.
She says local police have told her it erodes public trust and could lead to people posing as agents. Homeland Security says masks protect agents from threats and harassments like doxing. Let's bring our panel back in here and talk a little bit about that. And let's start with you, Stacy. You are married to a police officer.
I am.
What do you think? What are the conversations like about masking up police? This is a unique situation. We have not seen this before.
Well, it's bad. Look, the public database of who's employed by ICE already exists. You can check who is an employee. So this argument about doxing is hollow. Their names, their ages, they're already out there. And my husband worked in an undercover squad for half of his career. There was no scenario in which he was allowed to cover his face. And it's not if someone can impersonate a police officer. This just happened in Minnesota, and two lawmakers, or lawmaker and her husband, are dead, and another were injured. This isn't an if this happens, it does happen. And so I think the masking of ICE does erode trust. And again, I'm a cop's wife. I'd prefer no one know who he is and where he is and where we live, but that's not the job he signed up for.
And what do you think about the arguments about protecting ICE agents from harassment and whatnot? Do you buy that argument? And if you do, where would it end? Because you could make the argument that judges should be masked, juries should be masked.
So I go to the eminent liberal Justice Anton Scalia, when he wrote an opinion about dark money. He goes, it just doesn't have a place in the public square. In America, you stand with the flag. You stand for what you believe in. You stand in the public square, and that's what accountability is. And that creates trust. That creates transparency. Those are all things that we want in our culture today. And so, as Stacy just artfully said, it just doesn't belong. I looked at it when it was happening, and I was like, Are we in Mexico? I mean, this is just not a healthy thing for our community.
And also, it also gets in the way of maybe accountability too, correct?
Absolutely.
I mean, if somebody is acting badly, you don't know who did that if their face is messed up.
Well, and they're also not wearing Axon body cameras. I mean, there are so many things that have evolved to include or improve police accountability that are out the window right now with these federal enforcement raids. I mean, they don't have Axons. They aren't. Their faces are covered. There are no warrants. They're just swinging through Home Depot parking lots and attacking people. Like this is really, really bad. And if this was happening on a local level, the department would get shut down.
And your thoughts on like the new tax and spending bill that was just passed and signed by the president? They're talking about hiring thousands of more agents. Just thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's part of the game. I mean, and broadly speaking, absent these types of missteps, the president is largely winning on these issues. And I, as an observer of this is where he can go over the edge and lose public support for this type of stuff because, you know, the stock market's breaking records. He's got immigration under control. He's getting all kinds of credit for that. I mean, this is the kind of thing that ultimately will undermine support for him if not checked.
And, you know, let's stick with law enforcement here. Now, after a very long search, Phoenix finally hired a new police chief. I want to ask you, what's the number one issue that this chief is going to face coming into this new job? This is a police department that's went through a lot recently,
it's a great
including
question.
DOJ investigations and all sorts of stuff. What does he got to accomplish?
Recruitment and retention. You cannot accomplish anything else you want to do until you hire qualified police officers and keep them. So they're not being lost to other cities, other counties, other state agencies, federal agencies. So he has to take care of those men and women who are doing the job and keep them. I mean, if he wants to focus on homelessness, or if he wants to focus on petty crimes, if he wants to focus on street crimes, prostitution, clean up 27th Avenue, whatever the issue is, it all comes down to having enough bodies in those positions and keeping them.
Yeah, and why such a long search on things like this? I mean, this was a very, very long search. It's been a long time since the department has had the chief. We've had an interim chief for a while. Why did it take the council so long and city leaders
It's a big
so long?
job. I mean, it's a critically important job culturally for the city of Phoenix to get this right. I think they started a process. They went down it. I think a candidate withdrew from consideration. Then they restarted it. And I think they've come to the conclusion of finding somebody they have confidence in, who had a history with the Phoenix Police Department, had gone elsewhere, and established a career with training other officers. To Stacy's point, I think they found somebody who they have confidence in leading the department.
Okay, we got a little less than a minute. I want to end on a somber note here. We did lose political cartoonist Steve Benson this past week. He was 71 years old. I think anybody who has been in Arizona for any amount of time, it's just part of like the kind of political atmosphere here in Arizona. His cartoons were always biting, and he didn't pull punches regardless of party.
Iconic, legendary, hugely missed ever since he's left. And a great story to understand his life. It's one of those things that is a passing of the torch to a new media generation. He's missed in my book, hugely missed.
And real quick.
Oh, irreplaceable. This is a huge loss for journalism.
All right, we'll have to end it right there. That is all the time we have, but be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night.